people would be like, "Whoa, is that production nominated Willem Lachance and Jonathan Payne?" Hi, everybody. My name is Jonathan Payne, or John Payne. I was a writer and producer on this project, Game Set Match.
And I'm Willem Lachance, and I was a producer with John on Game Set Match. So, producer is responsible for pretty much the project, and that sounds like a very vague answer, but it is pretty true. We're the head of the pack in a sense where we're kind of like we're putting everything together, getting the crew together, we're organizing logistics and shoot dates and this and that, making sure everyone's meeting their due dates and stuff, and just preparing everything in pre-production and development to make sure we have what we need for production. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of tough decisions. It's a lot of late nights thinking and chatting, but it's a lot of fun because at the end of the day, we all come together to make something great. That's what's really important. So basically, you're the head of the pack, but I like to think of myself as the beside the pack, but that's a different idea altogether.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered a lot of it. I think one thing I would kind of just kind of reiterate and just be like, what I found as a producer for this project in particular was like what I'm responsible for is getting the people together to do the things that I can't do to make this project as good as it can be. Sure, paperwork's fine, and it's great to be able to facilitate a team and be able to find people and place them into particular roles that you think would work best. So I think being able to see people and what they can do and what they can bring to the table as well is a really big part of your responsibility, because you're the one who reaches out to these people, who gathers the crew, as Will was saying, and makes sure all these things are set in the pre-production stage, so that by the time you're going through the rest of the process, that it goes as well as you would hope it would be, based off the people that you ultimately are responsible for putting together.
Lots of paperwork. Sign
Lots
those
of paperwork.
papers.
Sign it. Yes. And a lot of spreadsheets and emails and wrangling people to come to meetings to fill out their forms in the most polite and also assertive way that you possibly can. Um, it's definitely one of the parts where you're just like, you need to get it done. And you kind of just have to, sometimes you got to not be the bad guy, but you had to kind of put your foot down and be like, all right, it's time to give it a rest and just help us help you, I guess.
And of
Makes
course,
sense.
we have to put together a great production binder as we have. So
Mm.
we should win.
Yeah.
The amount of hours is hard to think of the number, but we definitely had weekly meetings outside of class time, and we had weekly meetings in class time with facilitator David Barlow, and those are both very important in the development and pre-production phase, just to as a whole crew to come together and make sure that we're all on the same page thematically and just the same wavelength. But also we had individual meetings with pretty much every section, like camera, sound, etc., just to make sure that things got done
Yeah,
and
I'd say it's one of those things when it comes to projects. Is I know a lot of people, especially during the Zoom era, is that everyone dreads meetings, which I totally understand. I mean, I'm with you. And I definitely think that there's a good boundary that's set, and there's a line that you can propose where, instead of having like such a bulk of meetings that are just unnecessary, and the information can be conveyed in a little bit more condensed and better way, just to be mindful of approaching it like that, because communication is a huge thing. So these meetings are really important, for the sake of communicating ideas and deadlines and due dates, responsibilities, like delegating between team members. But that being said, you want to be mindful of other people's time. You want to be respectful of your team and yourself, especially if you're producing. It's a lot of work, and you need to kind of take some time for yourself. So I mean, I find that in terms of hours of meetings, it's, just be diligent in the way that you approach it. And we were talking about this earlier. Um, our situation was pretty interesting because four of our key creatives on our team, Will and myself, as well as Andrew Nags, our sound designer, and Zachary Viola, our director, we lived in the same house. So we were like living and breathing BFTV for this whole year, especially Game Set Match, because that was kind of all of our just baby projects that we're really focusing on. So we were always at each other's doors, just hanging out, and the conversation would come up. So it's one of those things where we didn't really schedule a meeting per se, but we were always around each other to talk about any ideas that came to our heads, and kind of just figure out little logistics. Will and I were literally like across the hall from each other. So anytime something came up, we just could turn our heads, chat it out, and then keep it going. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, for hours. If we were to actually tally it up, it would be a lot, because if we include those, it was a lot of time we just spent talking about various things. It's a crazy amount of time, but it's all worth it.
That's right. Well said.
The biggest challenge was just like, sure, we both produced projects in third year, but that was a different beast because that was during a pandemic and we were shooting on location at the school, which is great. I love that. But this year we took on a challenge of doing a script that John wrote that had more locations than just one. And I think that was a great challenge. It was a positive thing because it helped us learn how to handle locations. It helped us learn how to, handle transportation of gear and people and all that stuff. So I think that was a big challenge, just kind of getting used to how to make movies outside of like studio, like on location shooting, and still the challenges of COVID. We had to make sure everyone was COVID safe, and we made sure to test everyone, especially the actors, because they were the ones unmasked on set. So just the normal challenges that every filmmaker, every artist, every worker has faced in the pandemic. But also on top of that is just learning new skills as a producer. What about you, John? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I definitely echo what you said, especially regarding locations. I think that's such a key thing to learn, especially if you want to get into producing live action once you're graduating, or if you're just doing side projects or whatever you're like. I think that's such a good practice to get into, just communicating with the vendor or a space, and just what that looks like in terms of what kind of forms you have to sign, who in the city you have to talk to be allowed to film, and the permits that you have to be aware of is very key when coming to that, because with a lot of people it goes unnoticed. For myself, I think I'd like to add, I think at the beginning of the project, once the whole production was greenlit itself, it was challenging as a producer to actually put together the crew. I think especially with the way that our program was mapped out for the thesis projects, you really wanted to be mindful of other people's time commitments and the projects that they had already committed to. But you also wanted to put together a good team, and you wanted to work with people that not only would be a great presence on set and just as a part of the whole cast and crew, but as well as the people that are really going to show out what they can do through their work and the skills that they bring. And as a producer, you want to seek that out. So I found that right at the beginning, it was a little tough to narrow down certain positions, especially the key ones. I think like you're looking at like director, and you're looking at production design, and you're looking at sound, and you're looking at
DOP.
DOP was a huge one. Yeah, that's right. Just all those people. Like, we were really blessed with our team. Like, everyone did such a phenomenal job. But it's hard to be able to lock them down, and you really got to be proactive in making sure that your name is in their mind by the time that your project is greenlit. And then I think just like a little other one aside from that is later on in the production, just trying to scramble around to get those last minute form signs uploaded. You don't want to ask too much of the people that you're working with, but you also need to get certain things done. So you kind of just got to be able to, like I said earlier, kind of just be assertive in that sense, and able to get what we need, and make sure people know their like time is being valued and worthwhile, and you're respecting them. And yeah, I don't know if that does that make sense.
Oh yeah, it makes total sense. Pretty much our whole life is a challenge when you're. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Everything sucks. Everything's so hard.
I know. We're gonna sit here in my Bob's Burger hat and enjoy nothing.
Enjoy nothing.
I actually had somebody ask me this the other day, and it kind of got me thinking. I was like, man, what? I don't know. Like, when you enjoy something, sometimes you don't really think about why you enjoy it. You kind of just do it, and you enjoy it. But I think some of the things that I thought about when asked this question was, I don't know, I feel like for myself, there's a lot of things that I wish I could do, wish I could do better, wish I had certain skills, but that's just not the case. And like, I've accepted that. I know where my skills lie or where I can improve and etc. So I think it's really cool to be able to work with not only your friends and the people that you worked with before that you enjoy working with, but also um, have certain jobs and know of certain parts of the production that you want to get done, and find and get the people together that are able to do it in such a good way that you're just like super stoked by the time that the project is finished. Like I think it was really cool being able to lock down certain people to do certain work, and um, be able to do the things that I know I can't do, and just be able to watch it happen is super cool, because then I can just like try to give them as much credit as they deserve, because they deserve all of it like so much. And I'm just here like I feel very privileged that I'm able to give them the opportunity for them to be able to showcase what they can do. Um, I think that's just one of the coolest things.
That's huge.
And being able to work with people and kind of like dip your toes in all of the little sections of the production, I think is really cool, instead of being kind of like tied down to one area if you're in like a more narrow and specific role. So I think that's kind of like what comes to mind when I think about what the best parts of it are for me. How about you, Will?
One answer is only one. We have the power. We love the power. No, I think for me it comes just everyone sharing a common goal is very cool, and being like and facilitating that team to getting to that final point is just like super satisfying to me. Like once we get that final product and we see all the months of hard work, all like the hours put in, all just everything, and you just see the culmination of that, since as a producer you have a hand, like as John said, in everything. You see every piece that has been put together to make this puzzle, this final product, and it's incredible to see just how the industry works, and how the machine turns, and like the gears
Sausage
turn.
gets made.
Exactly. It's really
Yum yum.
incredible. It is definitely a pleasure to just see these incredibly talented people do what they do best.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so many things to love about production and being in that role, that we could go on for so long about it. Like that's a
Yeah.
whole podcast episode, But
Exactly.
yeah, that's like some of the good stuff for sure.
I was given a piece of advice in my role model interview with a very nice man named Jim Cummings, very talented writer director, up and coming independent film. Not even up, he's established at this
Yeah, he's the
point.
man.
He's amazing. I talked with him, and he told me this is kind of like a general film thing, but I mean it does work as a producer, because again you kind of build crews and you kind of find the funding and all that stuff. But his advice was work with people you like. Just make stuff with people you like. Do short form content. Just do stuff with people you like, and you're gonna find your niche. You're gonna find your talent. You're gonna find your skills in doing that, and you're gonna have fun while doing it. So I think I'm definitely gonna apply that to my life. Just make stuff that I want to make. Not try to worry about if it's gonna get millions of views on YouTube, or if it's gonna do this or that. It's just kind of honing your skills with people you like, and I think that's probably one of the best things he's ever told me. Also, another piece of advice, and you might have to bleep this, but don't take any bull. That's also what he told me.
Whoa,
Work with
dude,
friends and don't take.
allowed to say that?
Or
Yeah,
what
geez. Well,
advice
I
would
kind of
you?
was gonna say something very similar to that, but I think if I were to give somebody advice, I think looking at production, it can be overwhelming, and it can look like it's a bigger, and it is a big job. Like there's no sugarcoating that. I think it's important to know what you're getting into while you're getting into it. That being said, it's so great. Like it's so manageable, and it's doable. Like if you apply yourself, if you're proactive, if you take initiative, like you'll be fine.
Take it
It's
step by
such a cool
step
thing.
too. Take it step by step, because it is a big thing. But like
Yeah,
break it down into like, again, it is in stages, but just break it down even more and just make it manageable for
yeah, and breathe and take care of yourself. Like I think it's so easy to get lost in projects. I could sit at a desk for hours and just work on writing stuff, and then whenever I get hungry, I'd be like, "Ugh, now I gotta go like break from this and go eat or something, or like go take a walk." But it's so important to be able to do that. So I would just keep that in mind. And Will's very correct in saying like find people that you want to work with and that you enjoy working with, and then on top of that, be somebody that you would want to work with, because that reflects onto your team as much as it does inwardly onto you. You know what I mean? It's so key to be like a nice presence on a set. Just being a kind person, being respectful, getting your job done. It's great. Like this is a collaborative industry. These projects, there's a lot you can get done by yourself. Don't get me wrong, and a lot of people have done it. Bo Burnham made Inside, and it was unreal. But even he has some people helping him in some vein, and people um, to not either like knock back ideas off of or to help with questions about how to get certain things done. It's very helpful to have those creative people. Will is one of my best friends, so being able to do this project together was so cool, and just like it wouldn't be nearly as fun and it wouldn't have come out nearly as well if I hadn't worked with him on it and been able to have that opportunity. Um, so yeah, like I totally understand that it's hard to make deep connections and great friend and like solid friends that go past the surface level. But I would encourage you guys and whoever watching this just to take that extra step um, and be open and let yourself be vulnerable so that you can be able to like form these connections with people and then just like make some great stuff because it all comes from the inside. It's all personal in some vein. Um, like Game Set Match had some fun personal ties to it as like kind of fantasy-esque. Find those people and don't be discouraged if you don't find them right away, because you will. Don't worry.
Keep
Don't
searching.
worry. Just keep searching. Couldn't have done it without you, man.
Oh, dude. Give me a hug.
There. Oh, that's nice stuff.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Good.